Welcome to Ingram Micro's webinar series for second half 2021. I am Cheryl Thompson, your Ingram Micro technology consultant for IBM Power, Storage, and Spectrum Suite. Along with me, my co-host, Mark Miller, who covers the East Coast. I cover the Central and the West Coast. Today, we have a great presentation about Power10. I know everybody's ready for Power10 to come. We have Shannon Elwell, who will give us the presentation on how we can get ready and be prepared for the Power10 launch. So just a few housekeeping tips. If you have questions, please place them in the chat box. We will also have time at the end of this presentation to do Q&A. Also, we are giving away $500, listen well, to two lucky winners that are on this call right now, two participants that are on this call, but you must be present to win. We will be giving it out at the very end of the call. And if you're still on the line, your name is posted, you win $500. And then also want you to be aware of our very next session, which is going to be August 12th at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be going over IBM's promotions, incentives, and product updates for power, storage, and services. And in the chat box, we have the link for you to register for that next session. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you. So we're here today to talk about Power10 launch and getting ready for it. We are just over a month out from our September 8th launch date. So we have a lot to do between now and then. Asim Khan, my counterpart in Power America sales, is with me, and we're going to split up this deck. I do have Maria Mendez listed here as a speaker. She wasn't able to join us today. She has Asim and I well trained on the conversations around this, but I do want to call out if you ever hear about Maria and your conversations. Great asset for us from America's marketing perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. First and foremost, we're going to go through a bit of facts and features around the products we're talking about today. The sprint to September 8th, merely a month away, so we got lots to do. Marketing, branding, events, messaging. Yes, we're actually doing air cover, so we'll talk to you guys about that. And I know we're all excited about the P10, so what can we do today? Because obviously we are not at announced date. That won't be until September 8th, but there are things we can do in the way of teasers and such. So with that, Power E1080, that is what we're talking about today. So 3Q, 4Q, we will be rolling out our high-end enterprise systems, and that is called the Power10 E1080, up to 240 cores, 64 terabytes of memory. In the first half of next year, that is when we'll be announcing our scale-out systems and our enterprise 4-socket system. But today, and what we'll be having a conversation around is the high-end enterprise systems, those 1080. So with that, so one of the things to think about in terms of the agenda today and what we will be talking about is Asim's going to be going through some of the feature sets around it, but I really want to have you guys take the training. So we're going to be talking a lot about execution. We'll give you a little bit of background on the products, but I really want to encourage you to go and take a look at the education that's out there. On July 14th, there was a worldwide all hands event, kind of set the stage for what the products are. We have these 4 pillars, right? We've got persistent security, scalable, sustainable compute, industry-leading reliability, and AI at the point of data. In that July 14th event, we did drill down a little bit deeper in terms of each of these pillars. Make sure you understand these pillars. It's consistent throughout the training. Again, we have on July 26th, so last Monday, we published our level 2 course training. In there, you will actually go through the customer pitch that walks through all of these different pillars, how you have the conversation with your client around them. There's also in that training some more technical type of training, so please go and take that training. It is a prerequisite for the Power10 Academy. That Power10 Academy is happening next week, August 9th. Please, please, please register for it. Register for it now. It's 4 days, they're half days, and you'll see as you register that we have on each day like specific topics, whether it's HANA SAP, pricing and TCO. So just go in there and take a look at it. Just 4 half days, but it is going to be very comprehensive training. Please do your prerequisite training of the level 2 so you're not totally lost as you go and dive into that Power10 Academy. The other thing that I really want to encourage you guys to take a look at is we have a sales playbook for Power10 the Seismic link, go and take a look at it. This is getting updated on a very, very regular basis. And you'll see as I walk through this deck, we've got various assets that are going to be rolling out for you, and we'll be putting those on this site. So check it at least once a week, maybe twice a week, especially as we're moving up towards the launch, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. We're going to be publishing things in real time as we get them ready for you to use out in the launch. So really importantly, go out there, take a look at it. It has got things like, what do you need to know, processes around, L112, et cetera. So important for you to go out and take a look at that. But with that, I'm going to hand you over to Asim, and he's going to walk you through what this beast is all about.
Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate it. So this is the exciting part of what we're announcing and what you will be selling in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, right? So before I talk about the E1080 machine, I think the links that Shannon shared in the previous page are very important, and you will have these slides so you can go through it. And there is a lot of information. Level 2 training is very important, and the training that we have next week is very important as well. So go through it, that will be brilliant. The second thing is that if you have any questions, please put them in the chat window. We'll be happy to address it, or maybe at the end you can ask them verbally as well. So now E1080. So this is the exciting part, right? Now this is the first system that basically is will have a 7nm processor chip in a 4+ socket environment anywhere in the world, right? So this is the first time the customers will have any server with more than 4 sockets using 7nm chip for processor chip. The system is typically the same as E980. So we'll have the 4-CAC environment. So each CAC will have 4 sockets. And in the Power10 environment, what we will have is 10, 12, and 15 cores in the socket. So there are 3 different variants that will be available to you. So you can go in a CAC, it could be 40 cores, it could be 48 cores, or it could be 60 cores. So the maximum that you can go with 60-core CAC is 240 cores. That's a significant boost, right? So, and we've got some great yields from Samsung, our new vendor, right, from the chip manufacturing perspective. And we expect some very good performance and yields coming in for all these processor chips available to you. So this is very important. So from processor perspective, we're increasing the number of cores in the socket from Power 9 generation. And we are also increasing the performance per core. So I'll show you some future slides. What do I mean by performance per core? So we're doing both the sides. Number of cores in the socket plus performance. Second is that we're not talking about processor technology only. We're doing some enhancements around the processor as well. So the first thing that we're doing is we're introducing the new OMI, Open Memory Interface architecture for memory. That basically helps us provide better resiliency and better memory bandwidth. So the memory bandwidth now is going beyond 400 gigabits per second per socket, right? So that's a gigabytes per second per socket, right? So that's a significant boost from memory perspective. Now that will allow us to have more memory DIMMs in the CAC. That will mean that we can use the lower density DIMMs in the system to help reduce the cost. So that's a significant improvement. And secondly, that will also help us to have in future like non-volatile or the high density solutions available on the system. The third pillar that Shannon talked about was around security. So there's a major significant enhancements that we've done around security. We've added the main memory encryption, we've added the core root of trust hardening, we've added the crypto performance, we've added multiple security features in the Power10 environment, and you can read more details about it in the enablement sessions. That's I/O, so that's memory and the security. So processor, memory, and security. Now the third aspect of the server is the I/O. So this will Power10 E1080 will be the first system that will be shipped with Gen 5 I/O, right? So generation 5, right? So we announced the generation 4 servers for scale out in early this year. Now this will be the first system that will be shipped with Gen 5 support. And that will allow us to have additional NVMe drives and other additional expansion doors, but that's from a system perspective, it will have a significant performance improvement going from P9 to P10. So there's a lot of excitement. We have been hearing a lot of, so when you've heard on the hot chips, when the team talked about the Power10, there was a lot of excitement, and a lot of teams were asking, and analysts were talking about why Power10 is better than any other technology available in the market. Shannon, can you go to the next chart, please? Now, this is when I talked about performance per core. So this is a great chart to show how much performance improvement we have gotten in terms of performance per core. So if you look at from the left side, that starts from Power 5, we go to Power 10. In the last 6 generation, we have increased the performance by 7x. Whereas if you look at the competition, what they have done is the performance per core has not increased, They've just kept on increasing the number of cores in the socket to get a better performance per socket. Here, what we have done is we've increased the number of cores in the socket as well as improved the performance. Now, from a customer perspective, there'll be a lot of customers moving from Power 8 and Power 9 to Power 10, right? So if you look at the customers on Power 8, they will be getting almost 75% performance improvement from Power 8 to Power 10. That will help them reduce the number of cores, help them with the software licensing, and maybe if the customer is on basically on a 3 or a 4 machine, they might go to a 2 machine to run that workload. And or maybe we may get additional capacity to run some additional Linux workloads. So we have done some performance benchmarking around the AIX, IBM and Linux workloads, and we've seen significant performance improvement. And the customers are seeing a lot of progress around the Red Hat OpenShift certification as well, and the performance around it. Can you go to the next chart, please? Now, this is a simple chart. I don't want to go through in detail, but it shows to you what are the difference between E880C and E1080. Why it is important? Because when you're talking to your customers who are in E880C environment right now, it gives you a good overview of where we are from performance perspective, from memory perspective, and what are the differences in technology. So, and similarly, on the next chart, Shannon, if you can go to the next chart, it shows the difference between the E980 and an E1080. So from the previous chart was around Power 8, this is around Power 9, comparison against the Power 10. So it gives you a high-level overview, but if you go to the seismic page, it has more details on why E10 or Power 1080 machine is more important and going to provide a lot of benefits to our customers. Next chart, please. Now, this is an important chart from performance perspective, right? Now, the performance over here is very important because if you see on the gray bars on this chart, these are the 4 KEK or 4 node machines, and the light blue are the 2 KEK machines or 2 nodes. Now, if you see over the performance of Power 8 with 4 KEKs, 192 cores that we were providing, we can match that with 2 KEKs only on Power 10. So that's a significant performance improvement boost that the customers will get. When you look at the total cost of ownership, the customers will need a smaller footprint. Customers will need less number of cores. So total cost of ownership will go down significantly for the customers. So when you're positioning these systems, you can understand how we basically, the performance of P10 is better against the P9. Now, this performance estimate is based on the RPRFs. And I know you must be guessing that I'm only talking about why Power 10 is better against Power 9 and Power 8. Because I don't want to talk about the performance of our competition right now, because we will be publishing a lot of benchmarks at the time of announcement. So one of the key benchmarks is around the SAPs workload, right? Number of SAPs that we support. And typically from our competition, whenever we talk about the performance per core in terms of SAPs, the competition said, oh, the SAPs, we should be measuring around the SAPs per socket. Now, what we are trying to do basically is that we will be publishing a SAPs for benchmark for 8 sockets, and that will beat the competition from Intel with 16 sockets. So we could do more with 8 sockets compared to 16 sockets. So we'll have 15 cores on a socket, they'll have 28 cores on a socket, but we will even beat that. So almost half the number of sockets, exactly half the number of sockets, less than half the number of cores. So it's only kind of quarter the number of cores, and we beat them on that performance. So this is what we're trying to publish. Secondly, we publish a lot of other benchmarks around the Java and the other workloads as well. The other thing that you will notice is that what we are planning to ship basically around this time frame is that in the eConfig, typically the request was we only get 1 year support on an E980. So if the customer is looking for 3 years or 5 years maintenance, we have to go through a cycle of getting the pricing. Now, what we'll make sure that on an E1080, you have the 3 years and a 5 year maintenance available through eConfig. You can configure that, just click on that option, and you will get the pricing and at an attractive price point. With that, go to the next chart, please. Now, this is an important chart because this this takes you through the timeline, right? So the first and the most important thing is September 8th on the top left. That's where and when we're going to announce these E1080 systems. And September 17th is the general availability. So within 9 days, we'll make the systems available to be shipped. Now, what we're doing as typically what we have done in the Power 9 system family as well and Power 8, that initially we'll be having the customers will get 1 or 2 node systems that will be available to them. Now, if the customer requirement is to go beyond 2 nodes, right? Maybe the Power 9 environment is good, or maybe we need the 3 or 4 node environment in the month of September, October, November. The plan right now is to have the 3 and 4 node systems to be shipped in December. In the eConfig, you will have the full system available from 1 node to 4 node. So you can configure it, you can propose it to the customers. And we can even propose to the customers. That means that we can pick up the orders from the customers in the month of September, October, November. But only the shipment will be in December. Now, when I say that, if there is a customer requirement that really needs the system to be shipped in the month of October, for example, I mean, they need a Power10, they need a 4-node machine. That's the only thing that they can do. We can include them as part of the ESP program. So please, if you have any customers that are really looking for this 3 or 4-node environment, bring it to us, and we make sure that we include them and address these customer requirements. Second thing on the top right, the extreme right corner, if you see over there that as Shannon mentioned, the scale out and the mid-range systems will come out in the second quarter of 2022. That's the statement of direction right now, right? And now, having said that, we have some great promotions that Shannon will go through in the next in today's session around what are the new promotions we have for the P9 scale out systems. There's some aggressive promotion that we're doing for the customers. With that, yep. Can you go to the next slide, please, Shannon? Yes. Okay. So this is now. How do we work on the proposals, right? So we need to send. We're planning to send almost 800 proposals in Americas around the E1080 machines. So this will be around the customers who are running P8s, P9s, and also really looking at the new workloads, right? So the customers who are running on maybe on the competitive environment around HP and all these things. So if you need to have to share the P10 environment before the announcement date of September 8th, we need to go through the letter 112 process. So the letter 112 process basically helps us to share this information with the customers. To do that, the first thing that we need is an NDA. So make sure that we have an NDA in place between the client and the IBM so that we can share this information. And we can share the NT pricing. NT pricing, what I mean by that is the not to exceed price. Now, we have heard some feedback from the second quarter that the process was taking almost a week to get all this done. So what we're trying to do is we have set up a new war room in place in which we have daily calls and we review all the requests. So if you're submitting any requests, please make sure that you basically submit with the NDA. As soon as we have the NDA, we'll make sure that we process the request and turn it around within a matter of 2 days. Now, to do that, what we've done is we have put in a lot of new requirements, information on Seismic. Plus, we have built some 10 pre-configured configurations for AIX, for IBM I, for Linux, whatever the different requirements are. Again, these 10 are not the only ones that we can sell. So we can pick up those configurations, tweak it the way you want to do it, and send it back to us as part of the letter 112 process. And we make sure that we process it and get back to you with the pricing as soon as possible. And so the key thing over here is for the letter 112 process, please engage with the power seller who is working on this client. And we make sure that we expedite and escalate to make sure that process is done as soon as possible. And we'll be following the CPQ tool to process that. Go to the next chart, please. Oh, I talked through the whole thing in this chart. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is the process. So you have basically the Seismic on the, if you look at the bottom here, so you basically have the Seismic assets to the client. So you have the introduction letter, videos, and all these things that you can share with the clients. Once we submit the NDA along with the letter 112, we go through the process, we request, and we basically, it depends on the requirement that you're looking for. Maybe for some clients, you'll be looking for only the generic level, the P10 information, not the pricing. So that can be done very fast turnaround. We can do that. If you're looking for pricing, we want to make sure that we address the right pricing and we share with you the right not to exceed pricing as part of the letter 112 process. I believe I've covered that, but it's a good chart for you to have a reference and how we can do it. And I talked about the 10 configurations. So these are the sample 10 configurations, a couple of them for IBM I. There are 6 of them, 5 of them for AIX, a couple of them for SAP HANA. So there are different configurations. Again, it is not saying that this is the only thing we can sell. We can have more activations, we can have more memory, we can have less number of cores, we can have different IOs. So pick up these configurations, say this is what the change, I mean, these configurations, the details are available on Seismic. So go through it and say, I suppose, for example, you need the configuration number 2 and you need all 80 cores active. So you can say, I need this configuration number 2, all cores active, and I need 2 TB memory active as well, all memory active. So let us know and we'll make sure we'll configure that and get back to you as soon as possible as part of the letter 112 process. Next chart, please. All right, so I'll pass it back to you, Shannon. Thank you for that. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat window. Happy to address it. So over to you, Shannon.
Thanks, Asim. All right, you guys. So you know what this beast is. Great product. Very excited about it. I know our competitors are going to be a little upset with us in rolling this out. but our install base clients should be very happy. So how do we get there? And I do call it a sprint to September 8th because there is a lot to do. We want to actually be ready with those 800 clients to go and tell them about this on the day of announcement. Not start scrambling after the fact and getting everything together. We want our proposals. We want how we're going to execute, how we're going to engage with them all lined up before we hit that September 8th date so we can just push the button and sending those proposals out. So how do we get there? We've talked a little bit about the events. You've heard about the t-shirt size. Those are those configurations. They're already available out there. We've got our L2 courses. We've got all sorts of training available for you. So let's talk about these proposals. 800 high-end proposals. We're targeting over 600 install-based clients. Those would be mid-range as well as high-end clients, largely high-end clients. But we're also going after 175 Super Dome clients. In the markets, they already have their install base. They've already nominated those clients. So we already have that target list available. I'm sure all of you are going, how do I get that list or how do I engage with those clients? So we have been very specific with the markets. I actually this week went through and said, I see these items that are in our ISC system, but I do not see business partners attached. We've gone through and said these business partners need to be attached. They are to get the business partners attached to those records and engaging with you. And they know this week and next week to be talking about what do we need to do with the proposals, which type of proposal we're sending to them. Do they need to go through the L112 process now? Can we wait until September 8th? Do we need to have a custom configuration or can we use those standard configurations? All those conversations they'll engage with you on. And then the Superdome clients, the 175 of those, the markets were given that the prospecting list last week. They're identifying those 175 clients by the end of this week. Then we should go through and see which of those have incumbent business partners that we need to engage with, again, so that we can figure out what is going to be our strategy with the proposal, when are we going to engage with those clients, et cetera. We expect to have all the proposals done by August 20th. And the reason for that is we need to close out the end of the month and we need to be properly ready for the September 8th announce. Now, we may not have all proof points at the point in time, August 20th. As you can see there, September 7th, the final proof points will be available. So the day before the actual launch date. As Asim mentioned, if you absolutely need to get through an L112 process, you can get some preliminary RPERF numbers, but those final proof points won't be available till September 7th. But our goal here is get that proposal as far along as you can. If you need to insert in some proof points, then you can do that at that time. Again, try and push that button for September 8th. So really important for us to get these proposals together. The market should be engaging with you guys over the next week, 2 weeks, if they haven't already, to make sure that we're all aligned and we're all executing together as we get towards September 8th. And then the other things, I'm sure you heard this from Asim as well. September 17th will be our actual GA date. December 10th will be our GA dates for the up to 4 CACs or 4 nodes. Branding. So we have some new stuff with branding. All right, so here's kind of the original branding. This was our Power9. You can see we're dropping systems from the branding. You're also going to see that we've actually moved from all uppercase to lowercase. So it's lowercase 10 versus, power uppercase with a 9. And again, we're doing the same thing with the little power. It's going to be lowercase versus uppercase. Personally, it's easier for marketing, documentation, all that fun stuff, if you ask me. You're going to see your don't use, like don't just be casual and do E1080. Let's please call it the Power E1080. Let's try and skip the P10, again, using Power10. So just kind of have some discipline. And again, you'll see systems gone. Down here, you got all your different logos and how they'll look in the black or white. There are links down here so you can get your high res in case you're trying to make t-shirts, glossy brochures, whatever you need. That's where you're going to be able to go and get those logos. Now, marketing. So what are we doing in terms of client interaction? Obviously, we had the proposals, right? That's your high touch. I'm getting right down to business with my clients. Well, what else can we do with those clients? So there are going to be some events. You guys are seeing these whole, we did a training July 20th marketing. They did a high level, what are we up to? Hopefully you guys saw that. There is a recording. So if you want to hear that, just let me know. July 26th, Seller and Business Partner L2 courses. Again, that's last week. And then you got your academy. We will start analyst briefing and an NBA press conference at the end of August. So all that is happening before the launch, obviously, so that then they have the time to write up all those great things they're going to say about us and be ready for that September 8th when they go and start publishing all their press information. Launch day, September 8th. We will be having a virtual event on September 8th. We expect about 1,000 or so clients. Again, it's a virtual event. We should be getting that invite and registration link out to you. They say today, which means it's probably tomorrow. So as soon as I get that, we will get that to all of you so you can send that out to your clients to get them to that virtual event, right? And then you've got the outreach of those 800 proposals, which we're doing. Post-launch, there will still be a drumbeat going for our P10s. We got our Systems Innovation Series, what's happening in September. We've got a Gartner IT Expo that will be participating in October. We've got our Systems Tech U. Obviously, we'll have lots of P10 in there. And then we've got the Supercompute in November. So we're going to continue to go in and drive the awareness out to our clients from a marketing perspective. That's kind of the worldwide view. I'm going to take you into the Americas view because we don't stop there. We're going to continue to go. So you can see that we've got this Power10 virtual event. That's September 8th. That's the one I just talked to you about. We're also going to be doing a face-to-face plus virtual briefing in Austin, and this is going to be on September 14th. We're expecting about 60 attendees. We figure about 25 in person. We figure another are going to be virtual. And then we'll also be doing some face-to-face events, right? And this is going to be road shows in October that we're looking at the various cities, New York, Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, and probably somewhere in Chicago area. So as we get this sorted out, we will be sending out the invites for you guys to invite your clients to. So let me tell you a little bit about the September 8th. Again, looking at what we want to target first and foremost is our high-end install base. These are the ones that are going to be likely to be buying in third quarter and fourth quarter, right? So let's target them to get them pushed over the finish line. We also definitely want to go after our competitors, right? Let's go after the HP Superdomes, Oracle, SAP, HANA, Epic. Guys, we have a phenomenal success with P9, still having a great success with that, but we can do even more with growing in our footprint with our P10s. So audience, obviously, let's get some competitive wins, primarily looking at P8s, P9s. Oops, now I jumped there. Key personas, CIOs, VPs, CSOs, and then kind of some line of business owners. Segment 1 and 2, you know, we kind of see that as our mix for that event. Again, this is a virtual event, and we'll get that registration link out to you. I'm going to say tomorrow because they say today, but we're almost done with today. Messaging. So one of the other things I do want you guys to take advantage of, copy our homework. MDI is our market development intelligence team. They actually have crafted up some various messaging and tossed it out to our various customers and said what feels right, what doesn't feel right, so that we can get this tweaked and be optimal. So this is our elevator pitch. Please get to know it. It is really relevant to our clients. In fact, most found it credible, and that was like, you know, really pushing up towards the 90+ percentile. Over half found it to be very unique, which is top ranking. And then the rest found it as unique. So again, very, very strong in terms of responses from our clients. 2/3 found it very compelling, which means it meets their business needs and requirements. In terms of overall narrative, tagline, supporting statements, and proof points, almost 100% of clients said, yes, this is very relevant to me and I want to hear about more. So tried and true, go ahead and use this elevator pitch. Copy it. We want you to do that. The other thing is you're going to hear in all the training. I mentioned it briefly in the pillars. Asim mentioned it as well. These are our 4 pillars. There were other, you know, proof points that we test drove. So it's not like number 4 just happened to be the last in the line of things. No, this is just what are the top 4 that really resonate with our clients and in stack rank order, right? So number 1 is that drive greater efficiency with sustainable and scalable compute. Second up is security. We know how important security is and out in the marketplace right now. And then we've got that continuous availability and industry's most reliable server. I mean, that's just really where we've always accelerated, continue to rank well there. And then you got your bring AI to the point of data. So these are the 4 pillars that we're we've tested, work really well with our clients. Obviously, you know your client better. So if your client is all about security, please bump that one up in terms of your messaging to them. But really, this is kind of how they stack rank. So again, really my message to you is that we have test drove all of our different pillars, what's resonating with our clients. So feel free to leverage this so that you can have the same impact that we're going to have with the clients. Content. So we will be rolling content out. Seismic is your friend. That site with a playbook is your friend. This is where we'll publish these things. We're going to have an IDC paper. It's a Power10 analyst paper coming out August 19th. We got a Power10 video coming out. We got an audiogram coming out. Augmented reality is also coming out. And then we've got some stuff around security. We've got an ITIC security survey that is coming out. And then post-launch, we're going to have like a security ebook coming out and some other assets. So stay tuned. Watch that Seismic site. We're really trying to get you guys as much assets as we can so that you can leverage those. And now air cover. So I did mention, I know a lot of times people ask, are we doing anything around power out in the marketplace? We are going to do a lot of social out in the marketplace and around Power10. So first and foremost, grow the business. We have our own social media through IBM. So we'll be doing all sorts of outbound messaging, disseminating our narratives and our value proposition, et cetera. And then we've got to build the brand. So we've got our external influencers. We've got third-party folks that are really well known out in the marketplace that we're going to work with and are working with. I shouldn't say going to, we are working with. And then we've got influential non-influencers. And this is employee advocacy. So when I look at our social strategy, what we're trying to do this round is, my analogy is, you know, put like a bunch of kids in a classroom and say, everybody pick their own song and start singing. And what you end up with noise, right? You really don't hear anything and nothing really resonates. But if you actually do an echo approach where you have a few, you teach them a song, they turn around and then have the others parrot it, you can go and spread out that message in a crisp way. So we're going to have a few folks that are going to start the echo on our messaging. It's going to be very crisp. And then we look to everybody else to take that messaging and echo it out to their, where they influence, as their, you know, their LinkedIn, their contacts, whatever. But we're going to be very consistent in our messaging and who starts that messaging and how we're going to go and echo it out. So it's very consistent. So with that, you're seeing our influences, right? We're already having meetings with Ronald, Neil, and Arbon, and we're looking to them. They are maybe not really well known in terms of general Twitter, LinkedIn and stuff, but they're very well known in terms of IT and the clients that we are targeting and want to influence. So we're working with them in terms of, are they doing blogs and what is the messaging and everything else, so that we can be consistent. We're going to be a little different in their flavors with each of them, right? So that, you know, everybody doesn't get bored and it's all cookie cutter the same. But they all have their different kind of audiences and they'll kind of overlap on some of their audiences. But most importantly is we're making sure we got some outside influences that are going to go and perpetuate our messaging out. And the next thing is this employee advocacy. So this is our echo effect, right? So we will have about 5 subject matter experts within IBM that are going to have very specific messaging that they push out, and then we're going to follow them and we're going to echo what they're saying so that we can get consistent messaging out. Now, I'm sure you guys are saying, you know, what can I do? How do I get, you know, my hands on all this messaging? And we will provide a social kit the week of August 16th. I do want to get that to you because we look to you to be part of our echo, right? We look to you to also, you've got some really strong SMEs and influencers within your organization. We want you to leverage this messaging and start pushing out to your clients as well. So August 16th, that week, we'll get you that kit so you can start seeing some of that taglines and messaging and whatever you need. We should have our SMEs identified so you can tag, you know, our SMEs as well. But that will be out. We will give you a refresh on that social kit as we get to launch because there are certain things that we don't want to be pushing out into the market until actual announced date. So there'll be kind of a 2-phase approach, but I will definitely get you guys that social kit so you guys can do your part to be a part of the whole ecosystem. That's Echo and ECHO. All right, I'm sure you guys followed that. Other thing, Quora. I had to learn what a Quora session was because I didn't know. So basically, this is one of those, you can have the theory of we will build it and they will come, or somebody's already built it, and so we're going to drop in and take advantage of their environment. This Quora They have over 300 million monthly active users discussing all sorts of different topics, like 400,000 different topics. But these topics are technical and development oriented. So very strong and active forum for us to go tap into. So what we're going to do is drop in a SME into this environment to answer all sorts of questions from this audience. The other thing is it's pretty slick that they will control what kind of questions get asked so people don't get bored and annoyed. So there are no questions out there like, hey, I would really like to get a neon green Power E1080. No, we're not allowing that. That will get cleared out before it pops to the top. But if clients, and rightly so, are going to be asking things like, you know, what is happening with AI and the P10 processor? Those are the kind of questions that this SME will be fielding and answering so that we can influence these technical and development type resources. So this would be very cool. Again, we'll let you guys know when it is and how we go about getting your clients to participate and see this event as well. So hopefully you guys are excited about P10. Asim definitely showed you some phenomenal performance differential in the marketplace and against our 880s and 980s. But what can you do now? We're not at launch yet, so please just, you know, don't go and take the deck and not have an NDA and chat with your clients. And I know you guys won't do that. But what can you do? We've got a little teaser here. Freddie Elwell, he did a little video on, you know, Power10 based servers, what it's about. So you can shoot this out to your clients. Get your garage workshops going, have the conversations, and you do not have to limit the conversation to what's going on with a Power10. And in fact, you shouldn't, right? Continue to have the conversations around the Power 9s. The reality is our Power 9 servers, we are in what, the 14th quarter from GA, and we just had 4 consecutive growth quarters. That's 4 consecutive growth quarters with P9s, as old as they are in their life cycle. And it's because they still are very relevant, still very much have teeth out in the marketplace. So we are still taking out the competition with our Power 9 servers. So please make sure, you know, we've got 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. We will not be able to carry the quarter just on the P1080s. Love to, but we're not going to be able to. We're hoping to get some growth there, but we really need to stay focused on Power 9. Unfortunately, the marketplace is still very receptive to the Power 9. So have the conversations around garages and their architecture, and then define whether they really do need to get to a Power 10 or not. So Power 9, teeth. Let's keep pushing the Power 9, especially in the scale out where we're not going to have the scale out servers until the first half of next year. You guys should already know about the scale out technology currency. This was some first half. This is through IGF, right? So what this is if you buy a Power 9 right now, the client can, within the 2 to 3 years, upgrade to a Power 10, and they're going to be able to keep the same leasing price that they had, that they bought with a P9. And so they've got about 5 to 6 years where they set that price point right now in terms of their monthly lease, trade out to a P10, keep the same lease price. So very nice for them to buy now and then seamlessly upgrade without having to worry about any sort of renegotiation on contract. The other fun thing here is the Linux scale out servers. So hopefully you guys know all about our H models or HANA models. And this is where you could buy at a very, very nice, aggressive value seller discount. You can get a HANA model with Linux only. Now, until the end of the year, what we're actually going to allow you guys to do is get those H models at those really deep, aggressive value seller discounts, but you don't actually have to have HANA on it. So you can put any workload on it. It still needs to be Linux, but you can have any workload on it. So take advantage of that. Really nice there. Now, the other thing that we're doing, hopefully you guys saw the announcement yesterday, we have the private cloud rack. It's 3 nodes. That's what we announced before. Now, yesterday we announced a single node version of the private cloud rack. So this is announced. And the other thing that's going to be a part of this is going to be a 12-core processor option we've added to this. So really nice price points here. This is our private cloud rack, single node. You're going to be adding RHEL and OpenShift on that. So that's been announced. But for America's only, what we did is we said, listen, we love that 12-core. We love the price point. Just so you guys know, that price point for that 12-core processor is actually lower than the 8-core. So you're going to be able to get some huge benefits in terms of a difference in cost and difference in performance over the 8 core. And actually the performance differential is about 60%, while the price difference is 30% lower. So really good advantage going after Intel, right? You guys, we're not just doing this to sell more scale out boxes to our install base. We're doing this because we know we've got the ability to go and take those x86 boxes out. So you got your private cloud. Now scale out promo, you're gonna have the same thing, that private cloud rack, but what we're going to do just until the end of December is you can get that 12 core processor and that cloud rack, but you do not need to add OpenShift or RHEL. So you're basically getting an S922 with a 12 core at some really reduced pricing, cheaper than what you do if you got the 12 core processor, while getting the advantage of the performance over the 8 core processor. So go check that out. It's only for Americas because there's, you know, we're taking all the supply for the 12 cores because we're that way. Dark cores, light these up. You can do through a special bid. You're going to be able to get some very aggressive end user pricing. So, hey, you know, there's supply issues out there. Those 950s, 980s are already parked at the client site, right? So all you got to do is light up those cores for those clients, allow them to kick the tires on some new workloads. Dynamic capacity credits, hopefully you've seen this as well. Really deep value seller discounts going after capacity credits. So this is effective again through December 31st. Please go and take advantage of that. It's very important for us to allow clients to use those dynamic capacity credits, maybe kick drive, you know, some new workloads, whatever you need to do. But this is really good for us to get our clients kind of introduced into hybrid cloud, dynamic capacity type of things. 3Q call to action. You know what I'm starting with? I'm starting with what we've been doing from first half, right? You got to go and propose the PEP 2.0. This is about just keep doing our business that we have been doing, right? Stay focused around P9, stay focused around revenue for third quarter and fourth quarter. Make sure you're positioning the Power VS, the cloud, right? We've got all sorts of dynamic capacity options. We got the PowerProof 50, and we got your hybrid cloud credits. So please go and work with your clients, do workshops, garages around the cloud. Modernize applications. Don't forget about the refuse to lose HANA opportunities. Execute the Oracle takeouts, still very strong going up against Oracle. But I do love P10 that we're actually getting better core performance with our Power10s. Again, just to get saving our clients even more money in terms of their licensing. Teach them that for Power9 and show them the vision for Power10. And of course, you know, IBM AIX environments with our IBM cloud racks. So keep selling that. Learn, prepare, rehearse. Get to know that training. You've seen all the links. Make sure you're ready for next week. It's going to be great. 4 days, just half days, but it's going to get you really up to speed to be able to talk to your clients. And take advantage of all of those new promotions that we sent out, right? Again, don't lose sight of Power9. And so that's it, you guys. Please be safe. We're going to have lots of fun in the next quarter and in the next year as we're rolling out the Power10. Obviously, we've had 4 quarters of great growth using P9, so it's going to get even more fun and even better with P10. And with that, I am done. Do we have any questions out there that we want to touch on?
There's some questions in the chat that Asim and Jim Smith have been responding to. Thank you to the partners that have been using the chat box. So now we have Q&A. Thank you, Shannon and Asim. We really appreciate it. Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? Please unmute yourself and launch your way. Are there any questions? Awesome. So Mark, can you do the honors of picking our 2 partners that will get the $500?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Ingram and IBMers are not eligible, so essentially just took the registration list to make it easier on myself and shoved it in here. And if you're sitting on the call right now, you'll be awarded that $500. So I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to randomize the list once, and we'll have our first winner, and then we'll randomize again and have our second winner. So good luck. All right. First, we have Ron Guerrera from Essex. Is he on the call? Also, if you're on the call, you can just shout yourself out.
Ron, are you there?
Uh-oh.
Got to be present to win. Next.
3, 2, 1. All right. Again. Margie, you can't win. I'm sorry, Margie. Shannon, you can't win either. How about Rory? Is Rory around?
Yep.
Hey, Rory,
Awesome.
congratulations.
Congratulations, Rory, our first winner.
All right, let's do it again. And Eric.
Eric Valentine, are you on the call from VSS?
Yes, I am.
All right,
Congratulations.
winner number 2. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
So Mitch will reach out to you two with all the information and details.
So thank you all very much for joining us, and we will continue to do these webinars to help educate our business partners. And please, if you have any questions or concerns, or if you want a copy of this presentation and the link to the replay, reach out to myself, Cheryl Thompson, or Mark Miller. And with that, thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Mr. Khan, for educating our partners. We really appreciate your time.